go, y'all. What's up? What up? What up? What up? Once again, back episode 44. Non-expert opinion. We are your non-experts. Blak and Cinco. Y'all know how we do. The boys, season 5. Let's get into it, man.
Yeah, we're
Homelander.
back.
Homelander dies. He dies. He's done.
Kaput.
He died like a bitch.
Now,
He went out like a punk. He went out like Superman would never go out.
since you
He
started
went
with
out
that,
how
he went out
He went
worse
out how
than
the
the Deep.
Viltrumites would never go out. The Viltrumites would have never go out like that. I want you to know that. Him versus Viltrumites is that's a done. That's a done. No more debate.
You know what I like about his demise though is that earlier in the episode or the episode prior, when he dissolves the seven and the Deep comes back in. I think it's at the beginning of the episode. When he's talking to Old Father and he's basically like, the Deep, get the fuck out my face. I don't like you. I never liked you. Like, you've just been a bitch that was easy to manipulate and shit like that because you wanted my affection so badly. He basically calls out a nigga for being just the same as him, but weaker. And it was very poetic to me because at the end, he goes out even more pathetic than the Deep is throughout the whole show. Like, Homelander goes out as the most pathetic person on the show.
Nigga said, "Ah, suck your dick." Once he said that, I said, "Oh yeah."
I was like, bro. But that was the thing. Like, he's never known a regular human life. So like that was like the scariest thing he's ever been through is losing his powers. Like that whole scene of him losing his powers was done so well, I feel like, with him like doing the eyes zap thing. He like, and then Butcher looked at him, he tried it again, and he like, like, you lost your powers, huh? And when it's me with no powers and you with no powers, I'm gonna beat that ass. And then he tried to fly away.
I was just about to say that he beat his ass. He like whooped his ass. Homelander basically was just power, no skill at all.
Yeah, he was
no type of skill at all. He was just power.
He was dependent on his. I wouldn't say he had no skills. I would just say he was more dependent on his superhero abilities than actual skill, which it shows right there. Because the moment he lost it, like, you know, when he realized he ain't had no choice, he was willing to fight, but he got his ass handed to him. And he's never really felt pain. Like, he's might have bled or something like that, but pain the way he was feeling right there, he's never felt that. So it totally shocked his whole system. That's why he's literally sitting there sniveling. He turns into a little kid. Think about that. He literally turned into a little kid getting beat up.
Nigga said, "I'll eat my shit
on live TV." I'll eat, he said, "I'll eat your shit on live TV." And Butcher's just looking at him like pathetic. I almost wanted Butcher to let him live so he could just live life as a regular person and see if Homelander decides to go live that life and be miserable, or if he just jumps off the nearest building and takes his own life because he's like, hell no, ain't no way I'm living like this. I almost wanted that.
I think that would have been better too, honestly, for the ending. All right, so the ending scene, you said the ending scene was put together very well. I thought it was kind of like slowish. I was underwhelmed with the action, but like it came together well, you know what I mean, in the end, but I was underwhelmed with the action with Kimiko coming in. And her basically gave her ass handed to her like until like the whole thing with Frenchie. That was cool, you know what I mean? That was cool.
They wanted to give you emotional moments, and I feel like the Kimiko thing was finally handled in the emotional moments because she wasn't really there to fight Homelander. She was there to blast Homelander, and they had to find the opening.
Right, but then she couldn't even like get it together. So it's like, all right, the whole like even throughout the season, they part of the story was Frenchie's and hers love, interest and diving into that a little bit. So that was like how you said, like that was the end of that, putting that together, putting that to a rest and everything. But in the moment, I'm just like, I wanted to see more action. You see, they built the season up to me. Like if you think about like the promos, like remember when Homelander was like standing over the world and everything was like blowing up and shit like that. Like they built it up to be like that. So I wanted him to be like that god. I wanted him to die in the sense like after he's done like some godlike destruction. Like you know what I mean? Like after like I wanted him to do that, but they didn't go that route. We could dive more into that.
I'm gonna make an excuse for them on that too. I will make an excuse. So,
You
but
know,
I'll
I
let you finish.
wanted to see more than that. But you know, it was cool. It was cool. It was cool. I think the whole thing with Ryan. Remember when Ryan woke up and he was all like sad, like I knew he was gonna be sad. Like I just knew it. Like you know, and they're like you know he's a kid, lost his dad, whatever. But he didn't reveal it at that time. He revealed it when they went home, and then he was like, "Oi, I know I killed your dad, but you know we could be a family and blah blah
Boy.
blah." And he was like, "Nah, you're a bad person." And I'm thinking like, yeah, he is a bad person. Your dad was a bad person, but you're a bad person, nigga. You killed your mom. You killed that
That
soldier.
wasn't on
You
purpose.
killed that
The mom
lady.
thing we're not
You
going to
killed.
include because that was not on purpose. But the soldiers, like at the beginning of the season when he killed like those 4 or 5 soldiers trying to stay in hiding, yeah, you're doing things like that. So you're not really a great person
I'm
either.
just saying though. I'm just saying he has a. My point is he has scratches on his record
Yeah,
too.
he's
You
not
know what
as
I mean?
clean.
And
He's nowhere near clean, but he's nowhere near as bad as these two
yeah,
are.
yeah, he went and killed those Russian soldiers and shit, or whatever them
No, you're
soldiers
right.
was.
I give
Everything.
you
You know what
that
I mean?
one. I give you that one. Yeah, he was
He's
killing
not.
Russian soldiers.
Yeah, you feel me? He's not a good person himself. But I understood his sentiment. You know what
But
I
he
mean?
basically
Like, but
wanted
you
a
know what touched me
better
at the end?
guidance than though he was like, I cannot be with any of you two because you two are bad influences. You guys won't teach me to be a good person. And that's basically what he was saying. Is that not that he's a good person, he's better than them. He just knew he'd go down a dark path dealing with them. So
You know what touched? I could take that. You know what touched me at the end when Terra died.
but that was
That was the
important.
only
Like,
part.
see, that was very important. And they and
That was the only part in the whole thing, the whole finale that touched me.
I I feel like that was obviously gonna happen from the episode, like episode 4, maybe 6, when they were doing the perspectives, when they were basically jumping all over the place and showing all the perspectives, and they showed Tara's perspective of a day and stuff like that. And I was like,
Yeah,
oh, he's gonna die, and that's gonna be the last bit of humanity that Butcher has left, and we'll get the ending that way. Cause
because in that episode he took some V1 right and some shit. He took some medicine, something like that, right?
who, the dog?
Yeah. Then he eats something
Yeah, he
or
ate
drink. Yeah,
chocolate. He ate chocolate, but
he ate the
they
chocolate, but
poured
then the chocolate was like
they poured rubbing alcohol down his throat, like peroxide down his throat, so he would cough it up, spit it up. That wasn't V1. So
I thought it was had
yeah,
something
it was
like
just
that.
regular. That
Frenchie
was
was
like regular old
experimenting.
regular shit. And Frenchie wasn't even doing nothing experimental with that cake. It was like a regular cake. That was
Mm.
it. Yeah, that was just a fun. It wasn't like a filler episode, but it was basically a filler episode that actually had meaning to the rest of the show. Because you just see a bunch of people in there like where they are at the current time in their own heads and stuff like that in that episode. I actually enjoyed that episode. I thought that was one of the better episodes of the season where they showed all the perspectives. I think that's the episode where Firecracker dies and stuff like that because she's going through the conflict with her reverend and if like she should really be following Homelander because she still believes in Jesus and stuff like that. And he finds that out and kills her at the end. Uh, is that the episode where Black Noir dies also?
Nah, he dies like in two more
Or
episodes later,
that's the
or three
episode where
episodes.
Adam dies, where you find out Black Noir is like in theater and stuff like that, and the Deep kills Adam Burke because he sees the Deep Black Noir anyway.
I think that's that episode. Yeah.
Yeah, that episode had a lot going on, so it's hard to keep track of like what was actually going on in that perspective episode. But like I said, I definitely thought that was handled really well to just see where a bunch of people were. This is like where they started implementing the Democratic Church of America. Let me think. Is there anything else that actually goes into that episode? You got like the Sister
Um.
Sage and Ashley stuff where they start their bunker alliance because they know like Homelander's going way too far with this shit. Um, like I said, I thought that episode was
Yeah, that
handled
was
pretty
cool.
well.
I like, you know, the whole thing with Bashley disappearing and shit like that for a little bit, until Ashley finally got the nuts to, you know, to do
We definitely
to
talked
go
about
through
what
with the
her power
plan. Well,
was gonna
not
be, and I was not
well,
expecting
not
that
stuff.
when they did that. I was like, yeah, that's not the power I expected, but
Yeah,
it's the
I did
power
not.
I'll take.
Yeah,
I'll take that power though.
weird ass shit. I think yeah, that was a weird ass shit though to have that. It was like a fucking Quasimodo face on the back of her head or some shit. Like it
Yeah. But to go
was
back to
wild.
something you had said earlier, the Kimiko thing, I do feel like it was like an easy scapegoat to just like, oh, you know, Kimiko gets the chest blaster thing, you know, because they can't use Soldier Boy, which they could have, but they probably would have needed an extra episode or two to make that make sense because Soldier Boy is not dead. Like there's a point where you think he's dead, but realistically, Homelander puts him back on ice, so he's not dead. So they could have just woke his ass up and hopefully
Right.
got him to work with him.
I
Because
mean, you think if you think about the show in a sense, this whole show could have been over. His dad could have been killed him because he killed him the same way, like she killed him the same way, the same power he's had since season. When did he come in? Season
Season
2 or
three,
some shit.
season three. But
Season 3.
that was
You
the
know what I
whole
mean?
thing. Is
So
that
it's like
Soldier Boy was
so they
also
had to
like
contend
having
with it.
his whole thing was Soldier Boy was also having his own struggles. He wanted to be a good dad. He wanted to be a better person. He was trying to prove that he's not as like. Come on, Homeland. I mean, Soldier Boy is kind of a shitty dude, but it's kind of like the era that he comes from, where like that toxic masculinity is like out there. And he's like, I'm not really that bad, and I'm trying to prove that I'm not that bad, but I'm still shitty in my own ways. Like, so I think that was the whole struggle
Yeah, I
for
mean, he didn't
Homelander
really come around until
for Soldier Boy.
he didn't come around until he killed dude. What's the I forgot the dude
Bomb
name he
Sight.
killed, but when yeah, he
Wait,
killed
wait,
Bomb
wait. No,
Sight.
not
Yeah,
Bomb Sight. He didn't kill Bomb Sight. Bomb Sight ran away. Are you talking about the
no,
house?
Bomb Sight ran away. Bomb Sight ran away with Homelander. He hit Bomb Sight with the blast and took away his powers,
You're
but
talking about the dude
he
who was
ran
like
away.
plastered to the wall in that lab.
I think his name was Ben.
Yeah, the guy who was plastered to the where him and Frenchie were basically immune to what he was doing because they're heavy druggies.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, that
That's the
episode.
episode Frankie died.
No, no, that's not the episode Frenchie dies.
Oh
Frenchie dies in the
no.
second to last episode. I'm talking about something that happens in like episode 4. When they went,
Oh, okay.
remember that episode where they went to like to the lab to try to find the V1 and they all started tweaking on each other. Like they were all getting mad hostile toward each other. MM was
Yeah,
fighting Huey and shit.
that was the dude in the wall.
Yeah, and that's not the episode Frenchie dies. That would mean Frenchie was dead like half the
Oh.
season.
I mean, I don't know the order of the damn episodes, but yeah, I thought it was. But I know the Frenchie dying was a cool episode too. I mean,
Yeah, I thought that
what
was
did
meaningful.
Homelander punch him? Did Homelander punch him? I'm like, what happened?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Homelander punched him because like that episode was very necessary because I felt like we needed something that was slow and emotional right before the end. Now to go back to what you said with the Kimiko and Homelander thing, like I said, scapegoat, easy way out. There's a million other ways they could have did this. Like Gen V literally set up Marie Moreau to be like super strong and able to stop Homelander and stuff like that, and there's like wipe V out of people's bloods and stuff, and they didn't even use this at all. They totally moved away from the Gen V, and that was a big thing that people talked about. Like Gen V was like done for no reason almost because they barely got any play in the final season, which I also agree with. Kimiko scapegoat, Homelander. I'm gonna make an excuse for the writers. I feel like the advertisements and the marketing was to give you an idea of how bad shit could get if Homelander succeeded. And we just got to the way they ended up telling us the story was like, yes, he's at the very verge of completing what you see in the advertisements and the marketing, but the boys happened to stop the shit before it got that far. Cause like think about it, if there was one more episode, we literally would have saw that shit. If there was one more episode. Homelander was, but then I also question what does the V1 really do, because I feel like the V1 didn't really make him stronger. He was just immortal. Like
We just immortal. That was it.
Yeah, like he just wouldn't die from old age realistically, and that was it. So
trying to say, yeah. Here we killing Butcher was cool because I was thinking when leading up to it, I was like, damn, I can't believe Butcher survived, and which is weird anyway because I was like, I thought the nigga was sick, like dying by like some sickness. So like at one point, like season 4 was like almost fatally gone from the shit. So, but I'm like, all right, what like when I seen Terror and everybody when he dropped and I seen him grab the virus, I'm like, all right, something's about to happen. But I'm still thinking I ain't think Huey was gonna kill him. You know what I mean? So but I knew he was gonna kill him though as soon as he pulled out the gun. When he pulled out the gun, I said, "Oh yeah, Butcher's dead." I was like, "They got even no matter how this goes, Butcher's gonna die."
well,
I was like, I already knew that. So I thought him taking out Butcher was pretty poetic. Like we needed that.
that's another point in the excuse that I'm going to make for these guys with their advertising and how they handled the finale is that it's kind of always been that the main problem at the end was going to end up being Huey and Butcher having differences on how to handle it. Like Homelander was the big bad, but the end all be all was like, what's after you kill Homelander? Because does Butcher just give up because Homelander's gone, or does he continue his gotta kill all the soups thing? And you see, like we talked about in the last video, he has a little bit of humanity left in him. But once Ryan told him to fuck off, you suck, and then he walks in the room and sees Terror dead, the last little things that he was like giving any humanity to outside of Huey and the boys, kicked him to the curb. So, well, not necessarily kicked him to the curb, but he no longer had those things, those attachments to like human life. So he went to the dark side, basically. The way they ended it for me, I kind of seen it going that way because I was privy to the comic book ending, and the comic book ends with Huey killing Butcher also after this. It's just not handled the
Mm.
same exact way. But
How they handled it in the comic book.
basically Butcher is doing the same thing he's doing, but the way he gets Huey to kill him is that he tells him that he killed his family, Huey's family. So Huey like goes into a rage and kills him then, and that's how Butcher dies. But this one is more like Butcher was like wavering on making the wrong decision. So I especially like the fact that like right before the gunshots go off, you see Butcher's humanity kick in and he starts releasing the trigger. Like, I'm not even gonna pull the trigger. But because we had gotten to a certain point and Huey knew that Butcher was very likely to do this and who he was dealing with, he shot him. So Butcher
Right.
kind of
Yeah.
got. It's almost like a poetic ending to somebody who like was like last second, like, I don't really want to do this. He's almost like the chick who was going to jump off the building. Remember that episode where Homelander was sent to go save the chick jumping off the building, and she was like, I think I changed my mind. And then Homelander was like, no, nigga, you're going. You're going. You made this scene. You're gonna go. It's kind of like a poetic thing for him to have a moment like that, where it's like his humanity kicked in, but it was like just too late. It was just too late.
Yeah. Yeah. The deep dying was pretty
Anticlimactic, but it
so
was
you
like
like you could see that. Like you could see that coming. Like I saw that coming.
I think a lot of it was predictable. Like the Kimiko thing, predictable. The deep, predictable. Um, Homelander, if you knew the comics, some of that stuff was predictable because some of that stuff is right out the comics. The comics is different, and I think they can still implement what the comics did later on because like this season. I think its biggest issue is that it lets you down on what the marketing and the ads were, but a lot of it felt like it was trying to set bigger things up for continuation of the story.
I
Like,
mean, well, they got 5 spinoffs coming, so I'm
yeah,
pretty.
exactly. They have like Vault Rising, like think about Soldier Boy's still alive, stuff like that. Uh, Huey and Starlight are having a kid at the end of this whole thing. So I think there's a lot of
This
open
dude is still
doors.
running Vault.
Yeah, it's Stan Edgar. MM and Ryan are together at the end of the show. Kimiko's off doing her own thing. There's a lot of open doors for more to happen, especially because they've already announced other shows. So
Right.
I think that that's where the problem with it is the pacing is a little weird. Events feel like they don't really close the door for you on certain storylines, and I think that's all intentional because they're like the story doesn't really end here. The story for the boys ends here, but the story for this universe isn't done here. Because who's to say that there's not more soups out here who are nutty like Homelander or willing to go that far
Oh,
or who
that
believe
was
in
the
him?
whole thing. That was Butcher's whole point.
Yeah,
He was like,
I
you know,
get
what I'm saying
that.
if we leave it open, all we're gonna do is just leave the space for another one to rise, and he gonna go crazy and shit.
And I think that's just going to be the story of what the rest of the shows come out to be. Is like, hey, as long as Soups exists, we're always going to be fighting a war of like good guys versus people who want to take over or like stronghold the world and stuff like that. So it's a weird place to leave it. I do wish we had more of like end, a closing of the story where it felt like, hey, nothing else should go on, and then maybe they pop up with some other stuff later. But with all the stuff they've done throughout the show, like Clara, like we don't even know if like Stormfront is actually dead. Like we just know she's presumed dead and stuff like that. So there's so many
True.
open doors that are out there. I could easily see Vault Rising being a show that touches on the past because it's supposed to be focusing on those original heroes, but it's not really just
Yeah,
in the past. I feel
it
like
is.
it's going to be a show where like Soldier Boy is off the ice again, and it's like modern day things where they're reflecting back on past day things so they don't make the same mistakes.
Well, it could be something like that. I seen like a flyer, like a thing for a trailer, not a trailer, but like a thumbnail for it, and it had like bomb site.
Yeah, with the
It
old
had
suits.
all the yeah, they had all the old soup. So it might be a little bit like a flashback type of thing, or I think some of the story
I
might
think it's going to
actually
be a
be
lot of flashbacks that have to do with current day stuff. So we're going to see current day Soldier Boy and all that stuff. We're also going to see a lot of past events that happened because they're important to what's going on now. Because the thing about Stan Edgar was around during that time. Soldier
Yeah.
Boy, Bomb Sight, Stormfront, all these people were around. And Soldier Boy, low key, was going through a redemption without going through a redemption in the final season. Remember, they were clearing his name for the crimes that he really wasn't even guilty of and stuff like that he got set up for in Russia. If they were gonna reinstate the boys, who else would be the best person to take it over? Soldier Boy, probably. Like, so there's
I
a
could see
lot of open doors for this. For
I could
this.
see a young Homelander in that show, a baby
So
Homelander.
what I wanted to bring up is not necessarily a baby Homelander, but in the boys comic, the Butcher fight happens a lot differently because instead of it being like Kimiko and Ryan, Blak Noir shows up and you find out Blak Noir was a Homelander clone the whole time. And Homelander wasn't even really a bad guy. He was like manipulated into thinking he did bad things, so he just continued doing bad things because really it was Blak Noir in a Homelander suit doing those things.
Oh shoot!
And Homelander was so fucked up in the head, he just thought, well, if this is me, then it's me, and I gotta, this is how I act. And when he finds out at the end that it's Blak Noir, he's tweaking. He's like, yo, so you mean I've been doing all this crazy shit for nothing? And this, that, and the third. And Homelander, the real Homelander, actually dies to Blak Noir's hands, like clone Homelander. And then Butcher kills clone Homelander like he did real Homelander in the show with the crowbar. Yeah. So I can see them taking that storyline of clone Homelander and making that part of Vault Rising. I don't know how they'd spin it in there, but if it's going to connect the past to the future and stuff like that, I can see them trying to squeeze in a Homelander clone somewhere in there, even if it's not like a really like the final boss or anything like that, and it's just like a storyline on the way.
Interesting. That's an interesting way they went with the comics.
Yeah, the comic ending is actually very interesting. I hear the rest of the comic sucks though. Like I hear the comic is like a mess, but the ending is pretty interesting. So,
I mean, this season though, season 5, we got who else died? A-Train died. That was a pretty. That was
what a good
okay death. I
redemption!
liked it.
What a good redemption! Didn't think they would possibly could do it, but they did it.
Yeah. He has a little flash moment and shit. Everything going fast. I mean, slow, and he moving super light speed, and
Did you find?
Homelander chasing him.
Did you find that who's them naming the kid Robin? Huey and Starlight naming the kid Robin was weird.
Nah,
I did not think it.
moment,
I didn't think it was weird. I thought it was
nice.
full circle. Yeah, I was like, this is full circle, bro. The show starts with Huey and fucking Robin, bro. Like, it's full circle for Huey to have a Robin at the end. You know what I thought would have been nice? When like they were hugging or kissing or right before Starlight flew off, Huey sees like a force ghost, I'll say, of Robin, and she's like smiling and nodding like in approval of who he's become. Because if you remember, the show started like the opening scenes aren't that, but the first scenes you get of people like having dialogue is Huey and Robin, and they're talking about how he wasn't willing to speak up and say what he had to say to his boss and get a raise.
Right.
So basically, he got to see him come to the end of the line and be that person who would speak up for himself. So that's kind of the only change that Huey goes through throughout the whole show. He still remains himself, like Butcher says. He was like, throughout all this shit I put you through, you still remained you. And I don't think that means he just like never changed at all. He still grew. He still evolved as a person, but he's still at his core, he's still Huey.
Right, yeah.
So he didn't really have to lose himself to get to the end of the line. So I thought a nice nod from Robin at the end would have been nice, but I'm pretty sure there's reasons why they didn't do something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like part of that reason why they probably didn't do something because I feel like it was like kind of like hurrying up and get it over with.
Yeah,
like the rest of the show, like a lot of it was like rush.
Like I heard
like
they
I
had.
even felt like that conversation right there with her, with him and the president. I was like when he said no and the president was like, "Damn side business," and I was like, oh, okay, that's not really any pushback. Like they just rushed through that scene real quick. But I'm like, all right. And he was like, yeah, just call back if you change your mind.
Yeah. They were pacing through things pretty fast this season, but I feel like they just had a lot that they had to try to get through in this season. And they also said they didn't want to do like a long finale episode or anything like that, so I can see why they they didn't try to like give you like an hour and a half worth of stuff. Um,
Yeah,
I mean, what can I really? I'm not gonna complain about this shit though. Like I felt like this season did exactly what it should do. Um,
yeah.
and like I
I feel
said,
like you know
they
what
just left doors
the
open.
season.
Even that conversation with Huey and the president leaves doors open because it's the same idea that like the soups need to be regulated, and we might need a team to regulate soups who are walling out.
Right. Yeah. 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 I mean, they have certain things in this season. I feel like they filled the season with a lot of side stories. Like we got a lot more side stories. Like say like Starlight and her dad and all that when all that stuff happened, and her brother revealing she had a brother, and
Oh yeah, that was
they
actually good
hate
stuff.
Starlighters.
That was actually
You know what I
interesting
mean?
stuff.
Like that was like we got some cool stories, like little side stories and stuff. And then we had like the story with MM, going through his change, like what I mean, like he was
And finding himself
and then
again.
it was actually in between MM's story, they had that episode, that big episode where it was like Huey versus MM, which I thought was a pretty good episode. That was a pretty
Well,
good
that's the one with
that was the
that's
one
the one in
thing.
the lab where the guy's toxins was
Yeah,
making everybody
yeah,
hostile.
that's what we was talking about earlier.
Hey
Yeah.
yo, when he
Huey
squared
shoots
up with
who do
Kimi,
he be shooting these people? Who be shooting the boys? Like he don't give a fuck.
my boy squared up with Huey, and then Kimiko came around the corner, and my boy MM was like, "Yeah, I'm
Nah,
out of here. I'm out of here."
nah.
Nah.
Yeah,
Let me go
yeah.
back to the finale real quick. You know where they started off with Frenchie's funeral? How the fuck did they make the asshole story work? I was like listening to this shit, and he's like, "Yeah, I've seen all of your assholes," and I'm like, "Okay, cool, typical boy stuff." I'm like, whatever. But then they end it with I've come so close to you guys, even closer than my own family, to the point that I've seen all of your assholes. And I'm like, how the fuck did they put a nice bow on that? Like, what the fuck? I'm like, that's sweet. Like, that's sweet as shit. And only Frenchie could write that shit, right? Like,
Yeah, I'm like, I started laughing, and then I even laughed more as he continued, as he explained where he saw the assholes at. Like he was like, "I seen y'all banging, I've seen your ass." I'm like, "Yo, come on, man!"
like, like
Like
I
in the
thought that shit
real,
was just handled so well, bro, that it was like so funny, and they still made that a sweet moment. And I'm not gonna lie, my stupid ass shed like a tear or two when Frenchie died, bro. I'm not gonna lie, that kind of hurt me. I was like,
yeah,
because that was like that was like one of my favorite things about the show is just watching Frenchie and Kimiko throughout the series and stuff. And for him, like when it started getting to that point that like I knew he was gonna die, I was like, no, you're not doing this to me, TV show. He tapped on the wall and Homelander just flashed over to him, and I was like, oh, my boy ain't
yeah.
gonna get out of this, bro. And then
I
he
mean, as soon as he separated from,
he turned on the radiation, and I was like, what the fuck is that gonna do? What is that gonna do?
yeah, yeah. I mean, it did hurt him for a little bit because it always gives Homeland a little sores, but it's not gonna kill him. But I'm just like, when he flew off, I was like, "Oh yeah, it's a wrap."
And that reminded me of another point about Kimiko. He was like, "Hey, the chest blaster thing wasn't working," and that was actually the point of it all. Is that like he didn't know that she got the ability, so she didn't even really learn how to control the ability until the Frenchie moment. Because remember, the way they found out that it actually worked was when she was getting really emotional, and Sister Sage and Butcher noticed the rocks moving on the floor. And then Sister Sage went and started talking shit to Kimiko about her relationship with Frenchie just to trigger it, just to see if it worked. Because they
Right.
realized that the same thing with Soldier Boy was he has to get really emotionally invested to use that blast. Except for when he did it on bomb site, he seemed pretty like nonchalant and chill right there. But whatever. But other than that, emotion brings out the blast. And when they seen it worked with Kimiko, it worked. And then, like she said to Frenchie when she saw the vision, he was like, the rage that I'm supposed to feel that brought this out the first time, I can't feel it right now because I'm too busy being sad about you being gone. And I'm pretty sure that's because she's staring at the murderer of the dude who murdered Frenchie right there, and she doesn't really know how to control herself at that time. But Frenchie gave
Right.
her the pop. Frenchie gave her that realization that like it wasn't just rage; it was just you having an immense amount of emotion about anything can trigger this. So she just basically used love to fuel the blast at that point. So that's why I thought it was handled well in relation
Yeah,
to other.
Frenchie dying though was It was a little devastating. It was like, damn, kind of like
Well,
that was the first member of the boys that we lost. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so
the
it's like, damn.
only member of the boys we lost. Like,
But now we lost Butcher.
at the end, but like I don't count that. Like that's the end. Like this is like on the way. But
Like I said, fuck Butcher.
nah, but when he was dying and he looked at KeeMeek and he was like, "Mon cœur, you think I saved you when you saved me?" I was like, "No."
My part was when he told Homelander, "You probably never danced a day in your life." I
Like
said,
nigga,
"Damn, that."
but like, see, that goes to the ending. Like you've never actually lived life. You've never actually dealt with anything human, my boy. Like you've never done nothing. So when he lost his powers, he had to deal with a whole new life, just like that. Like just like
Now
that.
you know what? Not even a whole like yes, a whole new life, but just a whole new slew of emotions, like human emotions, probably just hit him in that moment, and he just didn't know how to handle. Like
Like
it
the nigga
just
obviously felt fear, but he's never felt fear as immensely as he did in that moment.
like right, yeah, oh, I can die. Oh
Yeah,
shit,
yeah. His fear
I can
prior to
die.
that was exactly what he said about the deep. You were just cowering for any little bit of attention and affection I could give you. And that was literally Homelander the entire show. Just, overcompensating so he can get the affection and attention of the people around him. And the moment all that shit slipped, look at how he broke. Look at how bad he broke.
It was crazy because he was reading the teleprompter, oh fine and shit. Then we got the word "I'm your father." He just like went crazy, like just mentally, like
Well, my man
I don't know.
has daddy issues. He has growing up issues. He's got a lot of things like that would trigger with him because he's like, "What? I'm supposed to be the father? I don't even know how to be a father to my own kid." Like, what the fuck?
Yo, he went off, bro. Like he just like I can't do it. He's like I'm the
See,
Messiah. I'm the world. Like, whatever he was saying,
because
it started.
realistically, Homelander transitioned from wanting love and attention to just willingly going after fear based following. And that's where, and that was basically what his line in the sand where he crossed over to the dark side for good. Like there was no shot at a good Homelander was when he started that conversation and he started the nigga, I'm your lord and your savior, and you're just gonna listen to me. And if you don't, scorched fucking earth, bitch, I'll blow you all up. Like that was him going full send to the dark side, and that's what I'm saying. The advertisements weren't really false. They were just showing you what could have happened if he succeeded in the final episode.
Would have been nice to see, but
Yeah, it would have. It
who-
would have.
this guy named who's that church guy,
Oh
the singing
father,
guy.
oh father.
Old father, them killing old father with the sex ball thing was kind of funny. He died like how this dude died in Doctor Strange.
Yeah, Black
Um
Bolt.
how Black Bolt died, but instead with just with the voice. Oh no, well he had a
It
voice too,
basically
I
is the
guess,
same
but
thing. He just got gagged
yeah,
instead of
maybe
his
the
mouth
same thing.
sealed.
Yeah, honestly, yeah. But I'm like the dude with that weapon was crazy. I'm like, yep, you died how you live, son.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Like a
Yeah,
freak.
freaky man. And it's funny that they made like a reverend slash pastor
I'm
be
about
the
to say
freaky man,
freaky
right?
ass reverend.
Being with Ashley, who was the vice president and then the president at the time. I'm kind of bummed that Ashley does go to jail, but I mean, it makes sense. It makes all the sense in the world for her to go to jail after that. But like, at
He
least she didn't
said,
die.
"I'm not going nowhere. I didn't do nothing wrong." Next panel, yeah, she's impeached. Get out of here, same
So let me
day.
ask you a question. Do you think Ryan lost his powers?
Yes.
I don't. I kind of think they might
No.
still be there.
Hmm.
He's different
That
from
is,
the
you know what?
rest of them. Remember that?
That is, oh, like he's half human.
No, he's the first natural born soup. He don't even got V in his blood. He's just naturally born that way.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, I know.
So
Yeah,
he might not have V in his blood to burn out.
it might just be. That might just be his blood. Like,
Exactly. Everybody else is like
yeah,
made into that. Like he's the first one who's like actually conceived and not injected with V.
maybe. Well, maybe that was part of his decision of not going with Butcher because he's like, if I go with Butcher and he discovers this, you know what I mean? It'd be some problems and shit like that.
I'm not gonna lie. I kind of wish Sister Sage had a death. I wish she died. Like I wish she had got to that point where
Uh,
she was dumb. Because I felt like her being dumb and like getting out like scot free was like all the shit she did, and she's getting out scot free, and other niggas be dying and shit like that. Like get me out of here. When she started walking out to go to Disneyland, I was wishing they showed her walk out and like something just randomly like fell on her head and killed her or some shit like that. Like some random gag real quick. Like an anchor, like some Looney Tunes ass anchor just drops on her head.
Cause she was loony at that time anyway. Fucking, she just like, yeah, she. I feel like she should have died too. Honestly,
Yeah,
she should have
I was
died.
totally good with her dying because she basically got what she wanted out of it. She didn't have to be
But
smart
she
no
did.
more, and she got to go be free in Homelander dies. So like she
Yeah,
got
yeah.
what she want out of this, and I'm not really happy with that.
She should have died just like how those celebrities died.
I'd have been fine with that. I'm not gonna lie. Now is there anything
Like
else
how
that I could
like
think of that?
those
Like,
celebrities that die, like my guy, what's his name? Seth Rogen and them.
oh,
Uh,
that was a good episode, bro. And that's part of the perspective episode, I think, too, with the cast from Supernatural in it.
yeah, what's the black keep what's the black man name? I
Black
forgot his name with
Noir.
the afro. Nah, with the afro. He was part of the celebrities that
Oh,
died
the
in the house.
heavier set dude. I don't remember his
Craig
name.
Davidson. Craig Davidson. Shout out to Craig Davidson, y'all. He just took a picture with my mom's recently.
Oh,
She
word.
loves Craig Davidson and she went to go see him, and yeah, he reached out to her and took a picture with her. So shout out to Craig Davidson. But yeah, him he lasted like 2.2 seconds in the episode because as soon as he came out the bathroom, he was like, Soldier Boy. He said, stand here, dead.
I like how Mr. Marathon was well, other than being the original A Train, he was Diddy in the show. If you think about
Ah,
it, my man had a house full of baby oil and shit like that. He was just worried about having
yeah,
freak
that shit
offs
was
and stuff.
crazy.
And
And that's
so
exactly how he died though. Poured the baby oil on the floor
so
and
I'm
then slipped.
so I'm pretty sure you recognize the two major supernatural characters in that episode. Did you notice the third?
Nope.
The guy with the chemical breath is also in Supernatural.
Or the one who hit him, the one who put him to sleep.
Yeah, the one who put Homelander to sleep for like 5 minutes. That guy. He's
Yeah.
also in Supernatural. There's a clip out there if you go like YouTube it where they actually filmed the scene where he was like, "Yo, we got to kill this Homelander dude." Where they basically like jump back and forth between the boys characters and their supernatural characters. Like they're like
Mm.
acting as the supernatural characters but in the boys. And it's actually pretty funny when you go back and you watch that shit.
I gotta check that. I
You
gotta check
get
that out.
Jensen
Yeah, because the
Ackles
dude,
and he's talking to Sam and he's like, I should tell dad. He's like, no, don't tell dad. Because remember, they're brothers in Supernatural.
that's stupid. They stupid
They
for that.
realistically could have slid that in there and people probably wouldn't even have noticed that they did that right there. Like some people would have, but some
Yeah.
people would have just been like, oh, whatever,
It would have
cool.
been like an Easter egg. There's another Easter egg
Yeah,
in the
I
show.
thought that was a funny episode. Soldier Boy low key getting Mr. Marathon to kill all his homies for him. Because remember, he just kept like placing them in doorways and shit like that, and Mr. Marathon would just run through him because he was like in
Yeah.
tune. Because he was basically on the same shit that A Train was. A Train was like dosing up on Compound V, but Mr. Marathon was just such a druggie that he couldn't really control his power, so he just kept running through people.
Right. Yeah. He was. That's the episode. Yeah, I was talking about where he was just murdering everybody. Then he ran through Seth at the end. He only ran through half of them, talking to him and shit. Put him out. He killed them and
Yo,
shit.
and
That's
then
it.
Homelander stomped on that motherfucker's head so clean. I was like,
Oh yeah.
oh
I
shit.
mean, he was done for anyway. Soldier Boy had put the baby oil down. He slipped. He broke his legs. It was done.
Yeah, but
He was. He
I
was.
don't think Soldier Boy was gonna kill him.
There was no way he was gonna live. Homelander was there.
Yeah,
He
that's what I'm
had already
saying
pushed
though.
Homelander.
Like that's what I'm saying. Homelander is there, so like yeah, he wasn't gonna live, but like Soldier Boy was not gonna kill him himself. Like if
Yeah, none of that shit would have popped off anyway if they didn't. If they didn't pop it off.
what's
They
another
would
cool
have.
episode? Another cool episode is when they found Stan Edgar and they were chilling in the bunker, and they have Maverick in there from Gen V, which I didn't even put the two and two together as I'm watching Gen V, but Maverick is Translucent's son. and that's where I found that out is this episode because you got Huey over here being all super nice and trying to console Maverick because he killed his dad.
Doesn't
And
he
then
die? Maverick dies, right?
yeah, Maverick does die in that episode because Homelander sends the deep Black Noir and that bald chick that can pop heads and shit. I think that's who it was.
Yeah, she dies too that episode.
Yeah, because Starlight fries her shit, but she's the one who kills Maverick on accident because she thought she was doing it to Huey,
Oh
and Maverick was in front of him. So, but I thought that was a funny little episode to have
she
Maverick
died.
in there.
Yeah, well, yeah, it was right before she died. She died right after that.
Yep, because then Starlight comes in there and like cracks her neck or some shit like that. Another good episode though. Yeah. Another solid episode. Cause that's the one where Butcher confronts Ryan and what's the daughter's name?
Ryan get his ass whooped.
Zoe, right? The Zoe, because this is like where Zoe finds out her dad's still alive and all that stuff, and they
destroyed the lab and shit,
and they destroyed the virus, and then Kimiko and Frenchie found out, and they're like, yo, you know what? Let them niggas go, bro, because we gotta be good. And like, see, that's part of the stuff that made the Frenchie thing so sad at the end, is because Kimiko and Frenchie really wanted to be good, helpful people. They didn't want to just be like doing bad for the. They didn't want to do the necessary evils to get the good at the end. They wanted to do as much good as they could without doing evil. And so for Frenchie to die at the end really sucked. Because you could see how much they kind of like rehabilitated each other and made themselves a better person over
time. Yeah. It made for good effect. Frenchie did die. Frenchie dying did suck, but it made for good effect. I feel like one of them had to die. And I didn't want it to be N.E.O.
Black Noir died a little too easy for me, but I'm not really like up in the air about that. I could care less. But unless the deep is like super duper strong. Yeah, like that's like the deep must be super duper 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 strong to just like penetrate Black Noir.
Like, wow, okay.
But I also don't know how much his power is different from the original Black Noir. But when they were fighting in the boys' hideout earlier in the season, the Black Noir was taking like a Gatling gun to the chest and lived that shit. So
we know why though. It's because he was Homelander.
What?
I said, well, and I'm just talking about based on the what you said in the comic.
Nigga. Oh yeah, but that has nothing to do with the show though. Like, cause remember when the deep and
nigga, it was a fucking.
He said it was a fucking Homelander. But I'm talking about that scene where the Deep and Noir pop up at the boys' old headquarters, and they started fighting Starlight and and Butcher and all that stuff. Like they literally blasted that
right there.
Yeah, they blasted his ass through a fucking wall with a Gatling gun or a rocket launcher or some shit like that. And he tanked the fuck out of it, but then a knife from the Deep is the finishing blow that actually.
I feel like the original Noir wouldn't have went to sleep with that gas in the car.
Pretty much correct. Yeah, pretty.
I feel like that would
remember. Like, well, they made it a point, which they make it a point in that one episode that I just brought up, but they don't really deal with it the rest of the season. He's a narcoleptic.
Who? The first one or the second one?
The second one. Remember, he just passes out because when they were fighting in that scene, he dozes off at some point because he lost too much blood, and Butcher's like, "Oi, the cunt's a narcoleptic."
Oh yeah. That's right.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. That's gonna be one of the things I miss the most about the show. It's just all the oys and the cunts.
Them putting it on the grave is funny.
Oi, fuck off, you cunts.
Like, okay, yeah, that was great.
Nah, that was a good one. Somebody made a point. I seen this post online where Huey's sitting here saying, "Hey, I know he's in hell, kicking the devil and all that stuff." When it's funny, because Butcher, aka Carl Urban, aka Johnny Cage, is in the nether realm kicking ass.
That's funny. That's hilarious. Yeah.
I was like, that's a funny little plug for somebody to pick that out. But hey, I did with that too. Yeah. I like that. I'm trying to think what else, like what other cool moments there were in this show, like for the rest of the season. Oh, my boy MM, he gets his revenge on the Dangler. I don't know his real name. I just call him the Dangler, but he gets his revenge and yokes him out with his own dick.
Hey, that was a unwanted I didn't want to
Yeah,
see
I
that, but
know. Mo hates his AO moments. He's way too masculine for an AO moment
that
on the
was
screen.
wild. Too much for me, but yeah, that was cool though. Him getting hitting that revenge back. That was him and Butcher was fighting that fight.
Later in the season, you see the old man version of him, like where it's not the same dude. Remember that dude's like nuts drop to the floor in the
Yeah,
old
that was
people home
yeah.
with Golden
Oh, that's the one
Geisha.
I was talking about. That's the one where him and Butcher was fighting. He dropped the nuts and shit. I'm like, yeah, that's kind of
Oh,
cool.
okay. The Golden Geisha episode where they go see the legend and all that.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
I,
he did get his revenge. You talking about in the first episode when he was in
yeah,
the grounds and shit like that, when he was
yes,
in the
at the
facility.
camp. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But he did fight the nigga with the nuts too. That was crazy. My nigga just keeps fighting genitals and shit.
Did he fight the
Weird.
genital dude? Oh yeah, because Butcher was like, that's for you, right? Like that's guys for you.
Yeah. I don't he did fight him though, right? Or did Butcher fight him? Can't remember who fought him.
I don't remember either, but not important. Not important. Let me think. Go back to A Train's redemption. I like how A Train's redemption went, just because I felt like they used it properly. Like him being like, I'm not about to go out there and fight Homelander and stuff like that and try to. Because remember, the idea was like you're gonna carry the boys out one by one, and he was like, stupid idea. I'm not getting involved in this shit. Fuck off. Peace. And then he goes and tells the Deep about himself when the Deep went looking for A Train's family, and then you just have him popping up at the end when they're all fighting with all the soups in Homelander, and A Train shows up and used his own brain. He was like, I'm not gonna carry these guys out. I'm gonna just bait Homelander away from y'all because he's so hell bent on getting me right now. He's gonna see red when he sees me and follow me. That's basically what happened. He shows up, shows
Yeah.
Homelander he's around, and Homelander said, "The traitor. I'll be back for y'all, motherfuckers. I'm getting the traitor." And he goes and chases the traitor, and in full circle way. I love when shows do a good full circle moment. A Train's death basically happens because he avoids doing the same thing he did in episode 1, which is running through somebody. So it was just a nice way for him to go out, and also for him to be the first person to like kind of call Homelander on his shit in this season. He basically said, bro, you ain't shit. You ain't that scary, bro. Like, you're realistically just a punk ass chump who is worried about love and affection, and when you don't get it, you throw a tantrum. And he snapped his neck because of that shit, because Homelander doesn't like hearing about himself.
Only thing, in my opinion, that could have made that scene better if the A Train avoiding that girl and Homelander running through her. Because I feel like we needed more of the world going to madness.
Yes,
Because
yeah,
of Homelander.
I'm not gonna lie. I would have definitely have looked at that like, oh man, like look at A Train trying to give a shit, and then they just show a motherfucker who just doesn't give a shit right after. Yeah, like that.
Like,
that actually makes sense to me. But like it's nice that the lady got to live. So I think for the full circle moment, I think for the full circle moment, it's nice that the lady gets to live. But it would have been a like one of those like, you know, those moments where you're like relieved that something didn't happen, and then it does happen, but in a different way, and you're like, oh well, yeah, that caught me off guard. That's where the Homelander thing would have been cool. It would have been a nice catch me off guard thing if he just blew through that.
Like, you know, like I understand the how you connected, how you said the flyer is what probably would have been right, but I feel like they could have dropped subtle just moments where we seen that. So I'll give you one instance. Like Sister Sage stopped him from blasting the crowd after the video played in episode 1 when Starlight infiltrated like the shit. You know what I'm saying?
When she leaked the flight footage.
I feel like if he should have blasted the crowd, you know what I mean? Like he should have blasted the crowd, and then like I just felt like they could have had moments to give him like this is what we're going to get. Like the world's going to get worse, but we're going to drop moments of destruction. You know what I mean? Like,
well, I think they don't do that is because the whole idea behind the Democratic Church of America and Homelander becoming God was that he wasn't necessarily just aiming at first. He wasn't aiming for tyrant kind of rule. He wasn't like trying to fear people into.
That's what I wanted him to be. I wanted them to show that tyrant side of him. I wanted to see that. Even if it wasn't full effect, I wanted them drop like little hints.
But it feeds into what Homelander was the entire show. Somebody who just wanted love and affection of the people around him. And he was trying to get genuine love and affection out of these people. And the more he realized that was like so hard for him to accomplish because of how cruel he was or how reactive he was in a lot of situations, it caused him to just go full out at the end and be like, you know what, fuck this. I'll blow you the fuck up if you're not on my side. So
Right.
that's
Yeah.
why I'm okay with it, is because it gave us points where it could have went that way, and he was trying not to, and then toward the very end, he lost. It's almost like him and Butcher were holding on to their last bits of humanity throughout the whole show, even though they were
They
walling the
definitely
fuck out.
were.
And then in the final
They definitely
episodes,
were.
both of them both lost their last bits of humanity. Whatever little bit of good was left in them, they both lost it in the final episode. So I
Yeah.
can take that. Like, yeah, they could have handled it in a more dramatic fashion, in a more like gory or like jaw dropping fashion. But the boys hasn't necessarily been jaw dropping in that manner. They're jaw dropping in like weird, cringy ways that make you go, "Hey, yo, what the fuck?" Like, not necessarily like, "Oh, just blood all over the place for the sake of blood being all over the place."
I think what hurt the fifth season for me was it after 4 seasons, the fifth season just felt like, let's just feel like it's here. Like there was no major excitement for me, in my opinion, for it. Like, you know what I mean? From what I see for it, it was like, okay, it's just here. They dropped the boys season 5. Let's watch it. You can watch it weekly. You can watch it all together when it's done. Like you can like, it's just was like, we'll see what happens to Homelander. It's not really like how you said the effects of it was the major like wow effect of it, I believe, was like seasons 1, 2, and 3. And then 4 was cool. 4 kept it up, but 5 did not have that wow, like, you know what I mean? But when you watch it, you're like, okay, they did a solid job of how they handled it.
I agree. I agree with that, but I also think it's just because it feels like season 5 is covering a larger amount of time in my mind. Like, where like season 1, the stories kind of feel like they're taking place in like days, weeks, maybe like a month or two. Where this feels like they were kind of covering a larger amount of time, or trying to make it seem like they were covering a larger amount of time slash events within the 8 episodes. Like let me not say it like that. I kind of want to say that it feels like in the 8 episodes they just had a lot of plot points that they had to try to hit, and some of them had to be sacrificed.
Right. Now I know what you mean because even if you look at the Starlight little thing with her dad and her brother, that took like 2 days.
Yeah, yeah, she was like hiding there for like a day or two, right?
Yeah, like, you know what I mean? Like, so I know what you mean. Like, it definitely was. And they were in the camp, for how long? Who knows the time skip between, like, you know what I mean? Whatever scenes and stuff like that after they got out and stuff like that. So, yeah,
Because
you're right about that. I feel like
basically
it's definitely.
the story of this season wasn't really necessarily a climax until like the last 2 3 episodes. Because the story of this season is the hunt for V1. Like,
Yeah,
like it's
yeah,
almost
yeah.
a season that just has 2 3 episodes at the end that just wrap it up, instead of having a season dedicated to wrapping it up. Because the whole
Right.
search for V1, that's typically just what a whole boy season would encompass, and then move on to the next thing. Where here they had to do that, and they had to wrap up the story for you at the same time. So I feel like endings aren't easy. Like, endings aren't easy.
Yeah, no, it's not. But you know what? I was satisfied with the ending, though. I was satisfied with Homelander dying, and this is me not knowing the comics. I was satisfied with Huey killing Butcher. I was satisfied with Terra dying. I was satisfied with, like, even Frenchie dying, like all the deaths and everything, like how they brought the boys
Yeah,
in
sadly,
the
I was
suits to
calling
the
Terror
end.
dying from like that perspective episode. I knew that dog was gonna die because I knew we needed something huge to set Butcher off at the end.
Mm, mm. Yeah, you
Um,
know what? I didn't know how they was gonna do that, but I knew he was going. I knew he was dead when he walked away. When Ryan walked away, and he went in the room and said,
I was
"Terror is
like,
just." As soon as you said
nah.
Terror, it's just me and you. He
Yeah,
said it's
man.
just me and you. I said, "Nah, Terror's dead.
Nah, the
Terror's
moment
dead." I
Ryan
already
told
knew.
him off, I was like, yo, he's gonna go in this room to like think about things, and his dog is gonna be dead. And, like, here's the next half hour of this episode is now we gotta stop Butcher. Cause that's what came to me as soon as I realized that like Homelander died at like the 35-minute mark. I was like, oh, there's still a half hour left. Like, so we are
Yeah, I
getting the
noticed that
Butcher
too.
goes
Yeah.
dark thing. Cause like I said, I knew the comic ending. So I was like, okay, so we are getting the Butcher goes dark thing here. There is no like short ending to that. They're gonna actually kind of flesh this out. So I could deal with that. I will say this is like probably the final thing that I have to say that is like about a part in the show. The moment after Butcher cracks Homelander's skull with the crowbar, and they show like the realization of what just happened on Butcher's face. I've never had an ending where I like felt the weight lifted off my shoulder as if I was the character.
Like finally, this nigga dead.
Yo, I've like so I feel like a very important moment in the episode prior, not where Frenchie's death, but another moment is where Butcher and Huey are in that room where they got locked up in, and he's like, "Yo, you know, like this guy just said all this shit about the Kessler thing, blah blah blah." He's like, "At the end of the day, we got to finish this, Huey, and I don't care if I got to drag your rotting dead bodies across that finish line. We're going to finish what we started." So for that to be placed there in that episode prior to the finale, when we actually got to that finish line, I felt like, you know, when you got like something you really want to achieve for so long and you finally get it done in that, like, you know, that relief you just feel. I felt that. I felt that. Like I was running around with the boys physically for 5 seasons, bro. Like I'm like I had the whole like, yo, it's done. It's actually over. Like Homelander's gone.
Nigga said the world is safe.
Like I wanted to turn to my left and right and high five like MM and Kimiko and shit, and they just aren't next to me to high five these motherfuckers.
Nigga said the world is safe. I am safer. I feel good.
Yeah, I really felt like that. So I felt like that those kind of things is why I like the season and like the ending, even though it's not the greatest. I don't think it's the greatest way they could have ended it. I don't think they used all the options or did everything they should have did. But I'm satisfied because of rewarding moments like that.
They did their thing.
Yeah,
emotionally they did their thing. You know what I mean?
I think that's the word I want to use. I felt as rewarded as the other members of the boys. Because I think for Butcher, he also has a little bit of a realization that, like, even though he succeeded, he does. You know how they normally do in shows where you get the kill and it's like, I don't really feel as fulfilled as I thought I would. And I think he goes through some of that. Where me personally, I don't feel that in my head when I'm watching that scene. I feel the relief, but I can also see where Butcher is like having that, like, I did it, and then he's like kind of like.
I think part of his conflict was Ryan. Just Ryan, like Ryan being a big part of the conflict.
Well, the Becca thing and all that, yeah, because he cares about Becca. Ryan's his last link to Becca and stuff like that. But remember, he also did ask MM like, "Hey, if anything goes wrong, I need you to take in this kid because you're like the best person I know at being this dad type of shit." Like, which is nice that he does. That's
exactly what he did.
Yeah, it's nice that he does take him in. I think that's a cool dynamic. MM getting his family back, and now his daughter has a brother basically. And stuff like that, and that's why I'm like, there's so many doors still open for them to come back and do a lot more with these characters and stuff. Because you still got the Gen V guy, you still got like Huey and Starlight who are around, and I don't know if you noticed, Huey's shop is the shop that he worked in at the beginning of the show. Like it's literally the same shop.
Yeah.
You have things like Zoe Newman who are still out there, who's cool with Ryan and stuff like that. Ryan and MM who are still together. I think I mentioned Gen V already, but you got the Gen V people who you could throw in there. There's a whole new group of like protectors that you could throw together now.
I hear the Gen V comic doesn't really go beyond too far beyond the boys. Like it stops with the boys. Like I hear their story is always stops like in the boys and it stops.
Yeah, from what I understood, season 2 was like the end of the story for them, but apparently there was a 3rd season in the makings, in the works for Gen V, and they just canceled it. So that was a shock to me. But like I said, I'm not gonna act like this is like the best ending ever, but this is one of the better endings I've seen of the show. Like one of the more satisfying, rewarding endings where I felt like things left off at a good place for everybody. Where I'm not really mad at anything that went on. I thought it was funny as fuck to have Samuel L. Jackson voice the shark when he was like, "The deep, don't come in this water, don't come in this water, motherfucker."
That was dope. I ain't going front. That was fire.
Yeah, and he goes out basically the same way as Adam did earlier in the season. The guy who does the theater and all that. Cause remember, he sent the
Oh
eel to
yeah,
kill him in
yeah.
the toilet.
Octopus put his fucking tentacle in his ass through his throat. Yeah.
And I kind of felt bad about that because like the oil spill, it's not really the Deep's fault. Like he's kind of a part of it, but remember, Blak Noir is the one who actually caused the oil spill.
I mean, but let's take some accountability. The Deep caused the oil spill because he killed his damn friend, all because he was doing the show.
Yeah, but see, that's kind of the thing. There's accountability. That's why I'm like, he's not really innocent, but there's accountability. And that was like the Blak Noir.
Yes, he did not have a hand in it. He did not do it. But his actions led to Blak Noir taking revenge.
But you know what makes it even worse? You know what makes it even worse? I know the fishes probably don't know that because they don't got TVs and shit like that. But remember, he did that commercial where he was talking about oil, and he was like, "Oil's not bad. Oil's a natural resource, bro. Like this, that, and the third." So it's ironic that that's the cause of the death of the fishes and shit like that. That leads to the Deep's issue. But I just thought like I didn't care for the Blak Noir and the Deep having a constant pointing of fingers back and forth at each other throughout season 5.
Yeah, I mean, it felt a little baby.
They were just going tit for tat.
Like, the Deep is like a baby, like that. He was always built like that to be a babyish member of the Seven who was just like barely like scraping by, who's getting by like basically by sucking on, you know what I mean, Homelander, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, you saying that reminds me of what I said in the first video we did on the first 4 seasons, where I was like, A-Train and the Deep are like basically the same coin, just two sides of it, and the Deep never really matured. He knew he wanted bigger things and bigger authority and shit like that and more power, but he never matured to the point to see the wrongs in what he was doing or to see a better way of going about things. Where A-Train did. A-Train made the difference. And where the Deep, until his final moments, were still kissing up to Homelander, A-Train was not doing that kind of stuff. I was actually surprised that the Deep didn't turn on Homelander in the finale, honestly. But that's how pathetic the Deep was. Is that he still, despite all the shit he got told by Homelander, still was like, I'm not turning on him. And like I said at the beginning, I find it so poetic that all that happens to the Deep just for Homelander to lose his powers and go out even worse than the Deep. That was another good first full circle, is to have Homelander going out as the most pathetic member of the Seven.
Yeah, I mean, because he started, like you said it earlier, he started the episode belittling the Deep. Like, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, just straight up, like, telling him, nigga, you sucked my dick for long enough, and now that's enough. I don't want no more head. Crazy. And you're nothing. And then he went out like a bitch saying he gonna suck a dick.
And eat shit on live TV.
like, you feel me? Like, so it's like, yes, but like that was a full circle. That was a sort of a full circle moment right there too. Like, honestly, like or what goes around comes around moment. You know what I mean? Like, nigga, like you did this. I mean, but the Deep, I feel like the Deep should have definitely had a hand in harming Homelander. Some
yes,
like,
I do too. Or at least like he
somewhere.
says something and sends the fishes after Homelander. But like then it would have got messy and convoluted and all that stuff, and you probably would have had more questions on why shit happened. Like there's already questions on why things went the way they went. If that happened, we probably would have more questions on why things went the way they went. Like why did Starlight decide to bring the Deep where he has an advantage?
Right, that was very questionable. But then again, maybe she knew. Well, no, she didn't know because
how would she know what the fish were telling the Deep? How would she know? She can't understand fish. How would you know? So only the Deep knows this. So like,
why would she bring him to a beach? That's crazy. Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
Like that stuff doesn't really make sense. Oh Father, is there anything weird about Oh Father? Not really. The only thing I can say about the Oh Father death is it's really funny that Huey does a Butcher impression to catch Oh Father. You're like, oi, this site's diabolical.
Yeah, that shit was funny. That was funny.
As soon as I heard him in the smoke, I was like, that's not even Butcher. I'm like, that's Huey, and then they showed Huey actually doing the impression. I was like, that's actually kind of funny right there. But it just shows
Yeah,
how close
Oldfather
that
was
Huey got to Butcher.
Oldfather was he got on my nerve. He got on my nerve. Like he he just kept saying stuff like the fight between him and Starlight was actually pretty cool. Like when she kept trying to like fight and he kept like overpowering her with the yell real fast. I thought that was pretty cool.
I wouldn't I wouldn't consider him a pointless character. He's just the most unimportant character of the season.
Yeah. He's like he was just like he took the role of A Train, like you know what I mean, basically of like just doing what
Another ass
Homelander
kiss,
tells him
yeah.
to. Like yeah, he took that role and yeah, you know what I mean. I don't know, but other than that, he was just like unimportant, like you said. Like besides another ass kisser to the story.
Yeah,
Anything
fuck
else
old
you
father.
got to say with
But
this?
I think that's it. I think we can get into ratings, and I think we can just talk about. Do you want to give a rating for the season and for the show as a whole?
Yeah, I'll start. I've given the season uh 7.5. I mean 7 out of 10. Well, I'm bugging. 7 out of 10. I feel like, it was good. It was cool. No wow in it. We got what we got. We got an ending. We got an ending to certain stories. We got continuations, possible continuations. Um, all the fights were pretty, they were okay. I honestly am still on the side where I, understand why they might have not have went with the more monster like Homelander, but I would have just liked that, and that took away like a lot for it. I feel like a lot of it he was just like, even though he didn't turn full bitch until so he lost his power. I still feel like a lot of the season he was like, oh, I just want the VR, I just want love, and like trying to talk like every time he had the opportunity to kill people, he didn't. And I'm like, okay, now like what if you like
Actually,
so, you know,
if I can interject real quick, I would like to make the point
what's
that
up?
Homelander had a thing against killing people who treated him like a person. So,
Yeah,
like, look at
we got that in the
the legend.
episode, yeah, with the old man.
Yeah,
You know
when
what I
he was
mean?
just like talking to him like he was just like some regular dude and all that stuff, not a superhero who could tear your head off. He talked to him like a regular person, let him live. Soldier Boy, another person who doesn't treat him like a god, let him live, even though he's on ice right now. And I almost thought that was a difference until they showed him on ice still. But anybody who cowers and kisses his ass, he'll let you live until you expose yourself as a fake, even if he
Right.
knows you're a fake. Like, I'm actually surprised that the Deep doesn't kill Homelander, but I'm also surprised that Homelander doesn't kill the Deep at some point. So
Yeah, I mean, I honestly think because he feel like the Deep was like dead ass in his dedication, but he just had no respect for him. Like it was like no respect for your dedication, even if you're dead ass. Like I don't care. Like you
even
still. Okay.
even when you come down to things like that one scene in I think season 4 where he kills all those people in the lab where he used to get tested on, the one
Mm-hmm.
woman when the woman comes in there and starts just talking gully to him, he
Yeah,
lives
he
the
didn't kill her.
longest, and she just has to sit in a room with the dead bodies, right? Like, so like he has a thing about people who just approach him regularly, where
Right.
but that's the thing, he just wants to be treated like a person. He doesn't want to be treated like a test subject. He doesn't want to be treated like a tool. And if people had did that from the get-go, that's why that guy he went to go talk to the old dude in like season 3, he's like, I fucked up because I didn't treat you like a person. I treated you like a tool. I didn't let you be a real child in any sense of the word. I just treated you like an experiment. And that's where I fucked up, because if I didn't do that, we might not be here today, which is the realness of it all. He might have actually been a good hero. He might have been like Golden Boy from the Gen V show, because Golden Boy wasn't a bad dude.
All them brothers, all right. Yeah, he was cool.
Yeah, so
He was just being confused and shit like that. But yeah, 7 out of 10 though. That's my rating though. Go ahead, bro.
cool. Oh, did you give the full series?
Oh, the full series, I would give a 8.5 out of 10.
Hmm. Well, that's higher than me. Um, I'll start with the full series.
I really enjoy the first 3 seasons, and that really makes up the bulk of like my enjoyment for the. And then the fourth one, like I said, we there kept me had a little bit of the wow factor, so I give it the 8.5.
So I'm probably gonna change mine somewhere in the future after we do this, but because I've never really looked at each season individually and gave a grade. But if I had to give this season a grade, I think I would just go with the same thing you did. I'd go with the 7 out of 10. The series overall is better than that. I remember we spoke about it when we first did our video on 1 through 4, and the show is kind of overhyped, but it's still pretty damn good. And I can't really say that there's a point where the show loses my interest. I think I would give this show a 7.7. Like close to an 8, not necessarily an 8, but close enough that you like would respect it amongst other 8s. And it's not a 7.5. I feel like 7.5 is just too low. I feel like 7.5 is like kind of disrespectful to how solid the show actually was. And me giving
7.7.
I feel like a 7.5 is disrespectful to the acting jobs of people like Carl Urban and Anthony Starr. Like those guys put on fucking performances in a lot of these episodes. So yeah, it's got to be closer to an 8 than a 7.5.
Speaking of the actors, Huey, I don't know his real name. What's
Jack
his real
Quaid.
name? Jack Quaid, I just found out plays in the Hunger Games. I didn't know that because I just recently over the week I watched.
I did see that too, and I don't recall his character in the Hunger Games, but I also do know he's married to Victoria Newman now. Where her name is like Claudia Dumas, I think. They got married while the show was going on.
Yeah. You're right. She was the head popper.
Yeah, Victoria Newman.
Yeah. Yeah, he's in season 1. He dies. He kills Rue in season 1.
Oh, he's the one who kills Rue?
Yeah, he kills Rue, yeah. Damn, Huey!
Oh, so we're going to be touching on Jack Quaid again pretty soon, because I think at the end of the year we go through the Hunger Games in like October or some shit.
Oh, bro, that's crazy. I literally just watched it this week at work. Like,
well, remember, because the new one is coming out, so we were going to do the Hunger Games series. See, Mo does not check his calendar, people.
I just be watching movies. I'm a review. Just not wasting time, but
he's gonna come back when the review goes on. He's like, I had to watch that movie again, man. It was a miserable 2 hours because I just watched it a couple months ago.
And I keep saying last week. I didn't watch it last week. I watched it like 2 weeks ago, some shit.
All right, well, yeah. So
last week.
I got it at a 7.8 out of 10. Mo, you had it at an 8.5. You said.
Yeah, 8.5. I gave the whole series 8.5, and I gave the episode a 7.
So my final thoughts on the series is like we had pointed out before. We thought the show was a little overhyped from where people were talking about it at like around like season 3 and stuff like that. But overall, there is no complaints for this show. Is it one of my favorites? No, but I will say I'm going to miss the weirdness, the bizarreness, the vulgar language, the laughing at Butcher and shit like that. I'm going to miss that. Real talk. So I might be rewatching this show in the near future just to, get that feel again, to laugh, the humor out.
I could definitely see me rewatching this, not this year, but like say like next year sometime. I might, because I really enjoy like just superhero like stories around superheroes, and whether it's like the villains or the human or like the regular people going at them or whatever it is in any sense. I really enjoy it. So this is a show that I could definitely spin back on. Yeah, but like as Sink said, it's just a show. It's not in my top 5. I don't think it's in my top 10, honestly, but it is a great show.
It might just make my top 10. It might just make my top 10.
Might be like I gotta think about I didn't even give it a thought. I'm not giving it a thought too much right now, but I gotta really think about shows to really see where I would place this. But I can see it like giving a quick thought. I can see it maybe like 11, like 12, 13. So one of those numbers, maybe, what I'm saying? I got to see what else is in front of it, honestly, and what else I'm thinking about, like what else I'm comparing it to.
And on top of Soups, I like shows that hit really close to home. Like there's a lot of things that like parallel what's going on in the real world, and also when they poke fun at like big corporations and government and stuff like that. I enjoy those things. So to mix it with
Yeah.
superheroes and showing the corruption in government and businesses and stuff like that, you did a good job of doing that for me.
Yeah, yeah, they had a solid story there with that vote and being the reason why the soups are the way they are and basically the soups then taking over vote and then now it was a good story. It was a good solid story.
One
Yeah.
last question before we go: do you think Stan Edgar learned his lesson from the first time around running Vault?
Not per that conversation between him and MM when they were hiding. And he
Oh yeah,
said
when he was
basically,
basically like,
yeah,
shit like this gotta happen because somebody's gonna
yeah,
do it. We might as well be the ones doing it.
yeah. Like he knew he knew like that was his plan. Like he was like, whatever happens, like I want y'all to kill Homelander because obviously what we created has gone too far. So yeah, kill him. I'm down with that. But yeah, I plan on taking my seat at Vault again, and I can imagine like what they're gonna do. They're gonna produce soccer like sportswear or something like that. No, they're gonna continue on what they're doing in a safer way. In a safer way, like you know what I mean.
I'm gonna make one complaint here. If there's one character who I kind of did not give a shit about throughout this season, unfortunately, Aaron Moriarty, if that's how you pronounce your name, Starlight.
Hold up.
I didn't care about you this season, Starlight.
Oh, like did I care about Starlight? Yeah.
There
Oh,
was nice
to me,
moments.
she had good moments. She had some of the better fight moments though, because I guess they gave her more to fight moments. I would say like, but she I guess I
But
can't say I cared.
I did enjoy her moment.
Her presence was there.
I did enjoy her moment in like episode 6, where they saw the psychics and what they were doing, and she was like questioning why she's still fighting this battle, and MM had to like kind of like, yo, I kind of went through the same thing, and like you got to remember, we're doing it to save people in the future and stuff like that, and all that, and where MM basically reminded her why we're doing this in the first place, type stuff, and then she ends up telling like Marie Moreau the same thing, basically. Like, we're not doing this, for this perfect future. We're just doing this because we're here to keep the hope candle light lit.
Yeah. I mean, the whole thing with Starlight and the Starlighters was I think it's one of the moments where they fell flat on. You know what I mean? Because they used the Gen V characters as a way to like basically keep the Starlighters or at least their name on scene and give them a little shine. But then at the end, it was like, yeah, rescue these people, go protect the Starlighters, and and y'all going. So I feel like it was just like a quick wrap up of that, like yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
And that's the boys.
but yeah, that's episode 44. Oh, you got something to say?
No,
Something else?
that's the boys. That's all I was saying. Is that
Oh
is the
yeah,
boys over and done.
yeah. No more episode. I mean, seasons 1 through 5. We gave it to y'all live, well, live as we could. Um, Still though, drop those opinions. We want to hear. We want to see those comments, shares, likes, all that beautiful stuff, people. What
Do
you thought
it.
about
It's free.
season 5? Let us know. This is what y'all just heard what we thought about it. Let us know what you think about it.
The
And
floor is
yeah, we'll
now
see y'all
open.
episode 45. What's episode 45?
I don't
You
remember off
mentioned
the
I will look
top.
at the calendar.
Is it He Man?
See?
No, nope. It's probably Masters of the Universe. No, nope, nope. I'm lying to you. I'm lying to you. It's not Masters of the Universe. I know it. It's Mandalorian and Grogu because I just went to go see it the other day.
Oh, you know what? You're right. I just looked at that yesterday and I saw that. You seen it? You seen
Talk about talk about. I don't look at the calendar. I know the
it?
calendar.
You said, well, wait. You saw it? You said you
Yeah,
saw
I
it.
saw it already.
Shit, damn, I gotta watch it. Damn. We came out when it came out.
Friday.
All right, bet. I'll be ready by Wednesday. Wednesday.
But
Yeah.
yeah, so Vault Rising is what's next, I think. Hopefully they do a good job because I'm gonna check it out. Hopefully it does a good job of feeling like the boys without being the boys. Cause I'm kind of gonna need that in my life. Like we talked about the first episode, how cringy and like weird it is, and I'm not gonna lie. After 5 seasons, I'm kind of like, how do I go back to like regular viewing without that weird shit on my screen?
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to this story, like you kind of like already expect it, so you're like, all right, they might as well just get. And then you think about it, all this shit that Soldier Boy was saying, oh, this person sat on my face, I fucked this person, and we did this and
We'll probably see
threesomes and
tidbits
blah
of
blah
that
blah.
in Vault Rising, honestly.
Like, bro, I already can see. I can see it all over there, bro. Like they gave it to us, so
And for me, it's a
All
little
right, y'all.
different because I binged the fuck out of this in the last like 2-3 months. So like,
So yeah, it's like right there. It's like fresh.
all of it is like fresh. Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see. But until the next time, folks, thanks for sitting with us. This is a slightly longer episode, but there was a good amount to talk about. We'll catch you on the next one. It's Cinco. It's
Peace,
Blak over
peace.
there. And we're N.E.O. the
We out,
pod.
y'all. Peace out.